Secretary of State Rex Tillerson learned he was fired at the same time the rest of the world did, on Twitter. The president tweeting, "Mike Pompeo, director of the CIA, will become our new Secretary of State. He will do a fantastic job. Thank you to Rex Tillerson for his service." For months, Tillerson's ouster was the topic of speculation after he called the president a moron. Two sources tell NBC News today it was a slight the president never got over and exacerbated their policy differences from North Korea to tariffs, Russia, and the Iran nuclear deal.
When you look at the Iran deal, I think it's terrible. I guess it was okay.
The president insisting today.
Really, it was a different mindset. It was a different thinking. I think Rex will be much happier now.
The two spoke by phone at noon when the president called from Air Force One as he flew to California. There were warning signs on Friday when Tillerson was traveling in Africa, an apology tour of sorts for the president's S-hole comments. According to two White House officials, Chief of Staff John Kelly called to tell Tillerson the president intended to ask him to step aside. Kelly called Tillerson again in the middle of the night Saturday to stress his departure could be imminent. Hours after arriving back in Washington today, the Secretary of State appearing in the briefing room, solemn and somewhat stunned.
I'll now return to private life as a private citizen, as a proud American, proud of the opportunity I've had to serve my country.
Sources say Tillerson tried to keep his job and now feels angry and mistreated.
Rex and I have been talking about this for a long time. We got along actually quite well, but we disagreed on things.
The White House says the president wanted his new Secretary of State in place ahead of his planned North Korea talks. It caps a contentious relationship that at times boiled over. The president publicly chiding Tillerson, and in one instance this past summer, Tillerson denying reports he was planning to quit.
There's never been a consideration in my mind to leave.
Tillerson now becomes the latest in a long list of high-profile Trump administration departures, with the president's inner circle becoming ever smaller. President Trump made no mention of the staff shakeup here in San Diego. Instead, he spent the day viewing prototypes of his border wall and talking to U.S. troops here. But tonight, some White House officials are still reeling after they say they were caught off guard by the ouster of Tillerson, and with the president hinting there could be more departures on the horizon.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.